cooking in the kitchen of love.
Well, good morning everybody from a bright and sunny Accra. Today I'm going to be making some beef pasties using beef from our local supplier, Butcher Boys. Perfect for snacks, for picnics, or if you make larger pasties for a main meal. But today I'm going to do a batch of smaller pasties, which will be perfect for sharing. So there are really three stages to the process. Stage one is to prepare the beef mixture, and we'll do that shortly. Step two is to make the pastry, which is going to go around our meat mixture, and stage three is to actually assemble our pasties. Okay, so first the mince mixture. So we're going to start off with our holy trinity of onion, carrot and celery. And also we have some sweet potato. Not all of this, but a piece of this sweet potato is going to go in there as well. Obviously we have the mince itself. And then we have a tin of tomatoes, plus some tomato puree. We have some ginger powder, some garlic powder, some paprika, mixed herbs, Worcester sauce, and some white wine, and obviously salt and pepper. And we also have some sriracha chili sauce. This is optional. This rather depends how hot or otherwise you prefer your pasties. But if you like them spicy, we're going to put a bit of this in as well. Okay, so first up, we're going to take our onion, carrot, celery and sweet potato, and we're going to chop them all up into about 1/2 centimetre cubes, put them in a pan with a little bit of olive oil and cook them off for about 5 minutes or so, then put them aside. Then we're going to take our mince, put it into the same pan and cook that off for 5 minutes or so, so that it goes brown on the outside. And then once that's done, then we'll put the vegetable mix back into the pan with the beef. The next step is to take our tin of tomatoes, put that in a blender or liquidizer for 10 seconds, 15 seconds, just to blitz it down so it becomes a tomato juice. And then we add that to our pan as well. And then we basically simply add all of the other ingredients, the puree, the paprika, the Worcester sauce, the ginger, the mixed herbs, the garlic powder, salt and pepper, not to forget the white wine, and if you're having it, the chili powder, the chili sauce. And really just leave that then to cook gently for about 45 minutes, at the end of which it should look like this. Okay, so now for the pastry. If you're not a pastry maker, fear not, this is very, very simple. Just 4 ingredients. We have plain flour. I'm probably going to use half of this, so that's 500 grams. A little bit of salt. A pack of butter, 200 grams of butter. And the yolk of 1 egg. And then possibly a little bit of water as well. And that's all you need. Okay, so the first thing is we take our flour, put that into a bowl with a teaspoon or 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Give that a good mix round so that the salt's well mixed up with the flour. We then take our butter straight from the fridge so it's nice and cold, chop it into 1 centimetre cubes roughly, and put those cubes into the flour mixture. And now all we do using the tips of our fingers is we keep picking up the butter and flour mix and rubbing it together in our fingertips. And gradually the butter will break down and start mixing with the flour. Do that for about 5 minutes. It'll get much easier as it goes because the cold butter will soon warm up once it gets into contact with your warm hands. And you just keep doing that for about 5 minutes, mixing the butter into the flour mixture, and you should end up then with what looks something like fine breadcrumbs. Okay, the next stage is you take your egg. I'm going to separate the yolk and the white because I only really need the yolk. But you could simply use a whole egg and just give it a quick beat. But I'm going to separate mine, put the yolk in and add a tablespoon of cold water to the mix, and then using my hands bring everything together, the breadcrumby mix with the egg and the water, into a single ball of dough. Okay, so now our mince is cooled down and our pastry is ready. We're almost ready to start assembling our pasties. And for this you need to be pretty organised. It's best to get everything ready in advance. So obviously you need your pastry board. You need some more flour to sprinkle on the board and a spoon to sprinkle it with. You will need a bowl with some egg and a brush. You'll obviously need your cooled down mince and your pastry. And then you need a baking tray prepared ideally with some baking paper in the bottom, or you can just grease the bottom, but baking paper is probably better. And then crucially you need something to cut your pasties with. I'm actually just using the tin from a coffee tin because it's just for me the right size for snack sized pasties. You will need a fork, and I'll show you why shortly. And of course, you can't do pastry without a rolling pin. So the first thing we do is we get a little bit of flour and just sprinkle it on the board. Then we take our pastry, put it on the board and roll it out, and then every so often turn it over, make sure there's enough flour on both sides of the pastry while it's still thick before it gets really thin, and roll it out thinner and thinner and thinner. Ideally you want it around 3 millimeters thick, give or take, would work well. So that's basically the process. Roll it out, and then when it's about 3 millimeters thick, then you get your cutter and get to work. Okay, so your pastry circle should look something like this. Now you take a couple of teaspoons of your mince and put it in the middle of the pastry circle. Then get your egg bowl and your brush and just gently paint the edge of the pastry circle with a little egg, which is going to help it to bind together, and then fold the pastry over so we have a semicircle. And then that's where our fork comes in. You get your fork and go around the edge of the semicircle and just push it down to make sure it's all nicely sealed. Okay, so in the end you should end up with a tray of pasties, something like this. Just get some more of your egg and your brush and just brush the tops of the pasties with a little bit more egg to help them turn nice and golden in the oven. Pop them into the oven on a medium oven, gas regulator 3 or 4. Keep an eye on them, but they should be ready, with a bit of luck, in about 30 minutes. So, here's the finished dish. Spicy, savoury minced pasties. This lot are going down to our guards as a thank you for looking after us. Well, maybe I'll just have one. Oh, and a glass of Pico Andino Chardonnay. Cheers.
Cooking, cooking, cooking in the kitchen of love.